A woman is expected to be okay after being shot in the chest last night. We will update you on the search for a suspect this morning.
And we are continuing to celebrate Veterans Day today by looking back at how a UW graduate helped make it a national holiday.
This is News 3 This Morning.
And welcome to News 3 This Morning. It is Monday, November 12th, and it is a cold one out there. I did not want to get out of bed this morning at 2 in the morning.
That's typical for
every day.
Mondays.
Yeah,
that's true.
It really doesn't matter the day or the weather, but we do have kind of chilly conditions. If you were sort of warming up to the temps yesterday, hitting highs near 40, we're back down into the low 30s again today. We just cannot break out of this cold weather pattern. A live look from the WISC-TV Skycam, cloudy skies in the area this morning. Not a lot of sun in the forecast today. We're down 1 degree here in Madison, now 27. Janesville's down to 30, 26 in Platteville, and 25 in the Dells. With the clouds in place, temperatures actually aren't that bad this morning, but take a look at your temperature trend through the day. Don't plan on a big warm-up. Temperatures are going to be within a few degrees of each other through the afternoon, hitting a high of just 32 degrees. By 2 p.m. Clouds will stick around through the day today. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We have an accident to report. This is on the westbound side of I-94. Shoulder is blocked right around Lake Mills at the exit to Highway 89, so be aware of that. No delays are forming there just yet. Here's a look at what's happening in and around Madison. Travel might be a little slow as you head from Middleton up towards Sauk City, but otherwise no other accidents to report. You're still going at posted speeds heading into the city.
I was saying earlier, it just seems too early for 40s to be considered warm right now.
It really is. Temperatures should typically be in the mid-40s this time of the year.
Shoot. All right. Thanks, Addie.
You're welcome.
We start this morning, or this hour, I should say, with a developing story on Madison's east side. A 29-year-old woman is in stable condition after being shot in the chest last night. Police responded to the Starkweather neighborhood around 9 p.m. That's right near the corner of North Fair Oaks Avenue and Milwaukee Street. Detectives are still working to identify a suspect and bring that person into custody. But again, that woman who was shot was brought to the hospital. She is in stable condition this morning. We'll continue to update you as we learn more throughout the morning.
A number of teens are facing possible charges this morning after a fight at the Westtown Mall over the weekend. Police say it started on a Metro bus where 7 kids were harassing a 28-year-old man and a 32-year-old woman Saturday evening. One of those teens even poured a slushie over the woman's head. The bus driver made everyone get off near the mall. When the man noticed his phone was missing, he and the woman followed the teens into the food court there where the fight started. 7 juveniles were arrested. 4 are facing disorderly conduct charges.
It is hard to believe, but the gun deer hunt officially starts this weekend. But any hunter trying to get a head start on that season could face some serious consequences. The Department of Natural Resources says now is the peak season for poaching. A lot of that poaching goes on at night without a clear line of sight beyond the target. It can also mess up the DNR's deer harvest totals, which dictate how many deer should be available for the hunt every year. So if you are caught poaching, you can be criminally charged and fined up to $2,000. You can also lose your hunting privileges for up to 3 years, and wardens could seize everything you use to poach, including your guns and even your car. If you witness someone poaching, you can report that to the DNR tip line. That number, 1-800-TIP-WDNR. That's 1-800-847-9367.
For the next week, the Dane County Sheriff's Office is welcoming hunters out for an annual sight-in before the gun deer season is here. That's happening at the Law Enforcement Training Center on Highway 19 in between the Interstate and Wanakee. You do need an appointment to meet with one of the instructors. They can help you adjust your firearms. It costs $10 for the first gun and $5 for each additional gun. The program runs through next Friday, the 16th, from 8:30 until 3:30 each day. All right, gun deer hunting season is already here, and you heard Hattie, we're already seeing winter temperatures. So city officials say that means now is the time to protect your pipes. Josh Spreiter is live at the Madison Water Utility with how to prevent a disaster in your own home this winter. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. Pipes that are most exposed, like those on the outside of your home or even those in the exterior walls of your home, are more at risk of freezing up and bursting. So what pipes exactly are we talking about? Well, there may be more than you think. Officials say it's important you remember outdoor hose hookups and faucets, swimming pool supply lines, and lawn sprinkler lines. You should also pay close attention to water pipes in unheated interior locations such as basements, crawl spaces, attics, garages, and kitchen and bathroom cabinets. burst. In some homes, I'm told pipes running along exterior walls have little or no insulation.
That's a disaster. What we want people to do is think about the damage that frozen pipes can cause. They can cause a pipe to burst, they can cause pipes to leak. When that ice gets in there, it can be a really big issue.
Officials say to make sure all outdoor faucets have been turned off and drained. Keep those garage doors closed to help protect water pipes located inside the garage. You can also open the doors on the cabinets where plumbing is located to allow warmer air to circulate around the pipes. Now, if you do have a leak or a pipe that bursts, it is important to shut the water off immediately to prevent that damage and call a licensed plumber right away, Leah, to try and prevent a more costly disaster.
You know, forget Hattie. I can always tell how cold it is outside, Josh, by how layered you are and then how red your nose is. Poor guy.
The nose is like my thermometer, Leah.
It is.
Yeah. You don't even need the temperature little bug on the bottom of the screen. Just look at my nose.
Exactly. Go inside, Josh. Josh Sprider reporting live for us this morning. Thank you.
6:06 right now, and government offices are closed today in observance of Veterans Day, a holiday, by the way, that was started by a UW-Madison alum.
This is so interesting. The Wisconsin Alumni Association says Marinette County native Harvey Higley left his job as a chemical engineer to serve in France in World War I. When the war ended, the nation recognized November 11th as Armistice Day to honor veterans. But following World War II and the Korean War, service organizations wanted a day to honor everyone who served. Higley, who served as the Secretary of Veterans Affairs under President Dwight Eisenhower, worked with lawmakers to establish Veterans Day as a national holiday.
So there are some opportunities to pay respects to the men and women who have served our country later today. There's an event this morning at the Memorial Union to honor veterans from the Badger State. That includes fallen service members. The UW-Madison chapter president of Student Veterans of America will speak at that event, as well as the university's Veterans Service Coordinator. And you may not know this, but that building where that's all taking place, 90 years ago, Memorial Union was dedicated to service members. The names of more than 200 Badgers who died in active duty are inscribed on wooden plaques on the walls of the Union's Memorial Hall. And the building also has an electronic Gold Star Honor Roll where you can find the stories of more than 1,000 fallen heroes. That's available online as well if you want to check it out at uwgoldstarshonorroll.com.
There is a free breakfast for veterans at Hy-Vee stores across the country today. That company expects to serve more than 90,000 vets and active duty military members over its 246 stores. If you'd like to give back to veterans, the stores are also collecting donations for their Homefront initiative. You can round up your grocery bill to the nearest dollar or contribute any amount now through Sunday for that project. That money will go toward organizations like Operation First Response that helps pay for medical bills and the Puppy Jake Foundation that connects veterans with service dogs. All right, if you are still dealing with damage from this summer's historic flooding, there is still time to apply for federal aid. We're talking with emergency management officials this morning to help you through that process.
No rain or snow in the forecast for your Monday, but you will want the heavy coat and fleece blankets handy. Hattie is sharing her very chilly first alert forecast when News 3 This Morning returns.
Good morning from the patio. Just quiet but cold conditions this morning across southern Wisconsin. Let's take a look at high temperatures yesterday across the area. Not that bad, or maybe I'm just getting used to these colder temperatures. 39 was the official high in Madison, 39 in Platteville, and 36 in the Dells. A few spots did top in the 40s yesterday. That'll seem like a heat wave, though, compared to what we're dealing with for the start of this work week. Normal highs should still be in the mid-40s. We're going to struggle back into the low 30s today and then not even get out of the 20s tomorrow. Midweek, though, there will be a lot of sunshine and temperatures should get back into the 40s at least on Thursday. Some of those long-range models are indicating that temperatures will moderate as we head towards Thanksgiving as well. Now, looking at the Doppler map, there is a lot of ground clutter showing up around La Crosse. A lot of that snow that you're seeing on the map is not actually hitting the ground. There are a few flurries off to the north and west, but our forecast is mainly dry today. We do have a lot of clouds in the region, though. Take a look at Weather Track, which puts those clouds on the map, and you'll see that skies are completely cloudy for most of the state. That'll be the rule today. Temperatures are right around 20 in the Northwoods this morning. Superior, Ladysmith, and Eau Claire all start right around 20 degrees. It's a little bit warmer here in southern Wisconsin. We're at 27 here in Madison, 28 in Mineral Point, 27 in Boscobel, and 30 in Janesville. Winds are from the northwest, so a little bit of a factor this morning. Wind chills are down right around 20 degrees. Here's a look at your wind chill forecast through the day. Not a lot of improvement, unfortunately, with our temperatures holding nearly steady. Wind chills will do the same in the low to mid 20s. So here's a look at your Future Track forecast model. A lot of clouds for the southern part of the state today with temperatures just warming a couple of degrees. 32 is all we can expect here in Madison. There will be places to the west that don't make it out of the 20s today. Now, heading into the nighttime hours, skies are expected to clear out, but that will allow temperatures to drop into the teens tomorrow morning. And it is going to be a very cold day on Tuesday. Pretty cold for this time of the year with a high of just 26 degrees. Sunshine, though, is in the forecast on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday will be the warmest day of the week with a high of 43. Really, the only precipitation chance is a small chance Friday night into Saturday. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. There is still an incident on the interstate westbound, Design 94 right near Lake Mills at the exit to Highway 89. The shoulder is blocked there, but be aware some delays could form in that location. Here in Madison, still a little early to see any backup issues just yet. No accidents to report in Dane County as well, especially as you look to the west. Downtown Madison still looking pretty good at this time of the day. No slowdowns to report just yet. Here's a look at your travel times. Just a little bit slower than normal as you head northbound on Verona Road. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you so much, Hattie. Appreciate it. So that road map looked a lot different a few months ago. It's been 3 months now since the summer's historic flooding that caused more than $150 million in damage in Dane County alone.
Now, we want to remind you that there is still help available for the next month or so if your home or business was affected by that weather. Carrie Meyer from Dane County Emergency Management joins us this morning to talk about the deadlines for FEMA relief. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This is still such an important topic. I mean, it's been months, so I think a lot of us forget about it. It's not top of mind, but the process for getting help is far from over, right?
Correct. Renters, homeowners have till December 17th to register with FEMA. We want to make sure that people understand that they should register with FEMA, even if, early on after the incident they registered their damages, they still now you need to register with FEMA, and then that'll start the process of an inspection and see if there's funds available for those that are affected. Whether a renter, a homeowner, if it was just your vehicle maybe that was damaged, you should register with FEMA.
And that can be really confusing because if we've already seen this registration process happen, we've already seen inspectors come through the state, we have to do it again because that was just to get qualified for the FEMA relief. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So even if you did that, and we had around 1,700 register, and we need to make sure that many, people are registering with FEMA. We don't want them to miss this opportunity.
Because right now we're at about half.
Right, exactly. We're about half. And there's 3 ways to register, either disaster.gov, so, online, the 800 FEMA number, or the Disaster Recovery Center right here in Middleton, which anyone can go to.
You know, something you mentioned that we thought was particularly interesting was that you're hearing a lot of people say, "Oh, my neighbors need it worse than I do." I mean, how do you respond to that?
I think the thing to remember is that, you know, you not registering isn't going to make it so your neighbor now will get more funding. You know, register, go through the process. The inspector will come out. The people that have registered are saying that the timeline, you know, they register, they get a call within a day, then an inspector comes out, then they decide whether or not there are funds available, and then a check is cut to that person.
Within a couple weeks?
Yeah, within a couple weeks. It's quite a smooth process.
And Carrie, we wanted to talk a little bit, you know, we're seeing images from, we just saw some images from a few months ago when this was all happening. It's pretty front of mind when we're seeing it every single day, but people are still, it's important to remember, people are still dealing with a lot. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, a lot, especially, you know, utilities that were destroyed or damaged, you know, furnaces. Now we're getting, it's cold, and people needing to get their water heaters up and running and furnaces, and, you know, dealing with the mold mitigation and things like that. So, you know, register with FEMA, whether, you know, there's funding or not. We can't answer that until you register, but you don't know until you register. And you don't know what could be found, you know, later on as we get through this cold weather. You know, maybe your furnace will, you know, stop working, and maybe it was related to the floods. So make sure you get registered.
Let's quick recap the different ways that you can register. Tell us about that again.
So disasterassistance.org, or you can call the 800 number, 800-621-FEMA. And then that Disaster Recovery Center, which has quite a few resources there. The Small Business Administration is there, FEMA's there. Whether you haven't registered, you can go there to register, or if you have registered and you have questions, that's a great place for a face-to-face conversation with FEMA. And they're there Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6.
Such important information there, because, you know, we don't necessarily know if you will get help, but you definitely don't get help if you don't try.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks
so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
The weather today isn't exactly giving us all of the reason to get out of bed on a Monday morning. No rain, no flooding to talk about, but Hattie is talking about clouds and cold. A temperature that's not going to move much at all from where it's at right now. She is in next with your forecast.
Chris doesn't mind that cold at all. Just another excuse to break out that snazzy new winter jacket he has. He's going to tell us how long the cold's going to stick around when News 3 This Morning continues.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. We start off with temperatures in the 20s this morning. 27 here in Madison, 25 in the Dells, 28 in Mineral Point. Not a bad start to the day at all. However, we're not going to see a big warm up today. Wind chills are in the upper teens to around 20 degrees this morning. Keep that in mind as you head to the bus stop. You'll definitely want the winter layers today. Temperatures again starting in the upper 20s, only climbing a couple of degrees to a high of 32 this afternoon. A lot of clouds sticking around through the day. More sunshine though in our forecast as we go through the rest of the week, and a little bit of a warming trend, but overall a very quiet weather pattern setting up around here. The only chance for precipitation comes late Friday into early Saturday, and it's not even a very good chance at that. So quiet and maybe a little boring for us.
Yeah, that is. But the thing is, we'll ultimately trend milder, which is what we saw. And I think that's what a lot of folks want to hear as we head towards Thanksgiving. Let's go ahead and show you why I do think we can lock in on a milder pattern towards Thanksgiving by starting with the upper air. Of course, this is what's going on right now. So this is that next cold shot that is working its way on into the region. We will see that cold shot continue to dig deeper through time. But then that moves out of here. We get milder by the middle of the week. Then another cold shot comes in by the weekend. It's what happens after that, though, as we head into Thanksgiving, that I think a lot of folks will be more so relieved to hear. We have in the jet stream a split flow pattern developing. And what exactly split flow means, essentially, you have a ridge of high pressure or an upper level ridge of high pressure over the northern Rockies. That shifts the polar jet stream well to the north. Meanwhile, you have the southern jet stream staying to the south. What this works to do is it locks up that cold air up in Canada, and that keeps us mild. It also keeps us drier in the near term as well. And this is the setup headed towards Thanksgiving. So let's go ahead and show you the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Yes, we are colder on the eastern half of the country, at least right now, especially in the interior Northeast. That's where they have below average conditions. That'll be very likely below average likely elsewhere. But back towards the west, we already see those milder temperatures working their way in as you have the greater chances of seeing above average temperatures. Now, let's fast forward this as we head in towards Thanksgiving. That's where things will get a little bit warmer across the country, and that's where you have your above average temperatures that will be likely for pretty much all of the western 2/3 of the country. The only place colder will be the upper Northeast there. So as we head towards Thanksgiving, that is our greatest chance for a warm-up. The question is, how long does that last at that point? And
right.
Well, that's too far down in model land. So we will stick with what we have right now and just know it's going to get warmer.
What a nice little birthday present. Thanks,
I know.
Chris.
Happy birthday.
I
Just
appreciate
from me
that.
to you. I made it myself.
All right, let's see if it sticks around.
I made it myself.
Handmade. Love it.
You never
Perfect.
know.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Anytime.
I'm pretty sure you didn't, but that's all right. I'll let it go, Chris. I'll let it go. All right, there are going to be significant traffic shifts on Madison's far west side this morning. We want to let you know about crews have shut down parts of County Highway PD east of County Highway M while they continue construction there. That closure is scheduled to go through 6 a.m. Friday. Over the weekend, PD was closed west of Highway M for that road work. Then downtown today, MG&E crews will continue underground electrical work just off East Washington Avenue near Breeze-Stevens Field. The intersection of East Main and South Brewerly Streets will be closed until Wednesday for that work. After that, crews will start working west toward South Patterson Street.
All right, it is inevitable. Every winter, we hear about water main breaks in the area, and we are hearing from Josh Breiter this morning about how to protect your pipes from the cold.
And even Chris Reese cannot protect us from that.
Nope.
And Dane County supervisors are talking about water, too, mostly the water that's covered roads and destroyed homes this summer. We'll tell you how that plays into next year's budget when News 3 This Morning continues. Madison's moving forward with plans to hire a consultant so the area around the old Oscar Mayer plant can be repurposed.
The winter cold is back, and that has officials concerned about the return of frozen pipes. I'm Josh Butter, live at the Madison Water Utility with what you need to do to protect your home.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning. It is 6:29 on this Monday, November 12th, and we are all sorts of bundled up coming into the newsroom this morning. Both Josh and Hattie very bundled up as well.
Oh yeah, this has to be my first morning waking up and thinking this is way too cold. I need to go back to bed.
I think the latter almost every morning, but you know.
Yeah, she does. Hattie's out on her patio this morning. You better believe she has the layers on. How you doing out there, Hads?
Good morning. I do. It's cold outside, but if you compare it to Saturday morning, this is nothing. Temperatures are still in the 20s this morning, whereas waking up Saturday, we were in the teens. Let's take a look at Weather Track, which is satellite and radar combined. A lot of clouds in the area, keeping temperatures a little bit warmer overnight, but those clouds will keep us a little cooler then through the day as well. Taking a look at a storm system to our south as well, you'll see some snow developing across Kansas and Oklahoma right now. Lots of rain as well along the southern tier of the United States. All that precipitation is going to stay to our south today. We mainly just have cloudy skies. Here's a look at our temperatures and winds. We're not going to move much. That mercury only climbs into the low 30s today here in Madison. Areas west of Dane County may not even make it to 30 degrees as well. It might be a little cooler there. Northwesterly winds around 10 miles an hour will definitely keep a chill in the air today. Let's take a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We'll show you what's happening in the area. Still an incident closing the shoulder on the westbound side of I-94. This is right near the exit to Highway 89 in Lake Mills. Be aware of that incident. No delays though forming right now. That area does get pretty busy though as we head towards 7 o'clock. No other accidents report in Dane County this morning. Travel time still looking normal as you head into Madison. And that's your first alert traffic.
All right, thank you so much, Hattie. Cold weather can mean frozen pipes and a potential disaster inside your home. Insurance experts say water damage accounts for billions of dollars in losses for homeowners every year. Our Josh Spreiter is live at the Madison Water Utility with more on why officials say now is the time to prevent that costly disaster. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Leah. It's just one of those things we're going to deal with living in Wisconsin, right? Well, officials say now is the time to do all of that preparation to try and prevent that disaster from happening to you. And there are some easy ways to help in that matter. The areas most at risk are, of course, those pipes outside, but also those lacking insulation in the exterior walls in the home or areas like attics and basements. The Madison Water Utility says you should close inside valves supplying water to outdoor faucets and hookups. You can also open the doors on cabinets where plumbing is to allow warmer air in. For pipes that are most at risk at freezing, let the water drip from those faucets. Now, if all of a sudden you don't have water, you may just have to fuel your pipes.
You have to kind of do some investigation if all of a sudden you don't have water, or you don't have water in, say, the bathroom, but you have it everywhere else. Sometimes it can be kind of hard to figure out where it's frozen and what has happened, and we really hope that it doesn't get to that point.
Remember, you should always keep the heat in your home set at a minimum of 55 degrees, whether you're home or not. Also, keep the garage doors closed to help protect water pipes located inside. If you'd like, officials say you should also get your home professionally winterized if you're going to be away for an extended period of time. Now, though the cold we're experiencing this week really isn't that bad, officials say it really is of concern when we get down into the single digits and it stays that way. Ladies, I think even with this morning, I'm not looking forward to that at all because it's already cold. But hey, prepare now and then maybe not have to deal with that mess and a disaster and all that cost later on.
Josh, I think we just need to take a leaf from Chris's book and embrace the cold. Really enjoy this.
I don't know. You know, we put up the Christmas tree yesterday, so I'm trying to get into the winter spirit. We're actually seeing some ice crystals coming down right now. We're seeing everything out here this morning.
I'm proud of you for that Christmas tree. There you go. That's
that reaction was priceless, Josh. Way to go.
Gotta be positive, right?
There you go.
There you go. All right, Chris Spreiter reporting for, or Josh Spreiter, oh Lord.
Oh,
Josh Spreiter reporting for us live this morning. Thank you, Josh.
6:33 right now, and the board that oversees transportation in the city is talking about winter cycling and fat tire biking later today. That group will also look at expanding the city's snow emergency zone to include areas outside of the isthmus. That's the area where alternate side parking rules go into effect when at least 3 inches of snow falls downtown. Now, the proposed expansion would add the Greenbush and Vilas neighborhoods from Regent Street down to the zoo to that snow emergency zone. That means people living around there would not have to follow alternate side parking rules until a snow emergency goes into effect.
The city is moving forward with hiring a consultant to plan for the area around the now empty Oscar Mayer plant. There's about $90,000 budgeted to hire that consultant. They'll be responsible for gathering public input, developing some design plans, and narrowing them down to final recommendations. The process should start early next year. The Oscar Mayer building itself, which once housed 4,000 employees, is now owned by a developer that's already moved its first tenant into the offices there.
People living around the 100 miles or so of proposed power lines stretching from the town of Middleton all the way to Dubuque, Iowa, have a chance to voice their opinions on it later today. The Cardinal Hickory Creek transmission line would go through 4 different counties and nearly 40 municipalities. It'll cost around $500 million to install. Right now, the city is in the process of analyzing possible environmental impact of the high voltage line. And as part of that, the DNR and Public Service Commission are holding informational sessions to explain the approval process and hear from the public. Today's session starts at 2 p.m. It goes until 6. It is taking place at the Madison Marriott West near Greenway Station in Middleton. There will be another meeting Wednesday at the Grant County Fairgrounds in Lancaster at the same time. The state is accepting comments on the project through January 4th. Dane County supervisors will start the process tonight of approving its $620 million budget for next year. That plan does lower property tax rates for homeowners and includes major investments in things like flood recovery and mitigation, additional mental health resources, help to address the opioid epidemic, and clean energy initiatives. For the past few weeks, county departments have submitted their proposed amendments, which were considered by various committees and could add to that total budget amount. Those deliberations start today. There's time set aside, though, on Wednesday and Thursday in case the board needs that additional time to approve the final numbers.
The city of Milwaukee is hoping last week's election results will boost the city's chances to win its bid to host the 2020 Democratic National Convention. Governor-elect Tony Evers claimed 84% of Milwaukee's early and absentee ballots. Wisconsin Public Radio reports the committee working to secure the DNC for the Fiserv Forum hopes that strong showing will help the city secure the deal. Miami Beach and Houston are other finalists for the convention. That event would attract 50,000 attendees and bring in upwards of $300 million across the state. The convention is set for the week of July 12th in 2020. The destination should be decided by the start of next year.
6:36 right now. We are learning this morning that a woman shot in the chest last night in Madison is expected to survive. We will update you on the investigation later on in the morning sprint.
And the Bucks are feeling pretty good this morning after a win on the road in Denver. Highlights from all your favorite Wisconsin sports teams are up next on News 3 this morning. Welcome back. We always ask you to share your morning with us here on the program, and it's a Monday. It's cold out there. We needed some sun to start out this day. Linda posted this picture on Facebook of a sunrise over Madison. Looks beautiful.
Absolutely. It makes me want to take a moment to run outside during the show and make sure I take in the sunrise super fast, but that would be, during a commercial break. I'm not sure if there's enough time to see colors like this.
Yeah, please stick around for me if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thanks so much for
I guess so.
sharing. Thanks so much for sharing, Linda. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on our Facebook page or on Twitter, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We share our favorites right here on the program.
To sports now, the Bucks get a couple days off before their next game back in Milwaukee. This comes on the tail end of their first win on the road in Denver since 2010. They closed out their West Coast jaunt with a 7-point win over the Nuggets yesterday. Final score 121-114. Center Brook Lopez hit a career-high 8 3-pointers. Pretty impressive. He had a total of 28 points. And all 5 of the Bucks starters scored in the double digits. That certainly helps. The Bucks are now 10-3 this season, the second best record in the Eastern Conference. They will host the Memphis Grizzlies Wednesday at 7 at the Fiserv Forum.
And Packers fans waking up pretty happy this morning as well. Green Bay remains undefeated at home after a 31-12 win against the Miami Dolphins. It had been almost a month since the Packers' last win. Running back Aaron Jones ran for a career-high 145 yards and 2 scores, and Aaron Rodgers threw 2 touchdown passes to Devontae Adams. Rodgers used some of his post-game interview to talk about the deadly wildfires in his old home of California.
The devastation there is tough. Hearing the stories of people running down the highways to avoid the fire, knowing that people burned alive in their cars. I mean, it's heartbreaking for sure.
Rodgers said it's been a tough week, and he's sending thoughts and prayers to the firefighters and all California residents. The Camp Fire is now the deadliest in that state's history, responsible for at least 31 deaths, with hundreds of people still unaccounted for.
Yeah, there are children among the missing right now. Just terrible, terrible images. I can't imagine. I mean, he grew up there, Aaron Rodgers did, and then went to college there, too. It's got to be super tough to see your hometown just go up in flames like that.
And I think it's easy for the rest of us so far away from California to forget about
it,
to not put a lot of attention on it. So good on him for drawing some attention to
sporting the Santa Monica Fire Department hat.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
all
good
right,
stuff.
6:42 your time now. Whether your name is Chris or Josh, it's cold out there, folks. Settle in. We've got a couple of days around the freezing mark before we see a little bit of a warm-up later in the week. Hattie's got another look at your forecast. That's next.
You got this, girl. It's a Monday. First, though, if you have a kiddo turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV. News 3 this morning will be right back.
Good morning from the News 3 First Alert Weather Center. It's been quite a roller coaster temperature-wise. Take a look over the weekend. Saturday's high just 29 degrees. A little bit better on Sunday, but we're back on a downward trend as we start this week. By tomorrow, our highs will only be in the middle 20s. Back up, though, towards the middle and end of the week into the 40s on Thursday. That'll feel pretty nice, especially when compared to Tuesday. Now, if you notice Saturday at all, there was some ice starting to form on some of the ponds in the area. Got me thinking a little bit about the lake ice statistics here in Madison, and here are the numbers. Typically, we see the Lake Monona freeze over right around the middle of December. About a week later is the average date for Lake Monona to freeze. The lakes are typically frozen just over 3 months, so a little over 100 days each season. There you can see the shortest duration for Monona, just under 50 days, and several years ago, back on 2001-2002, Lake Monona only frozen for 21 days. Now, comparing to last year, these are the dates. Last year, the lakes froze right after Christmas and stayed frozen almost through the end of March, about 90 days, 3 months. Weather track will show you what's happening. We have cold temperatures in the forecast. We'll see how that lake the ice forms on those lakes this year. Storm track is to our south today. You can see widespread snow and rain across the southern tier of the United States. Here in southern Wisconsin, things are pretty quiet, just cloudy. Now, no flight delays in the area. None of the major airports reporting any delays right now. None across the country either. However, from Dallas all the way through the southern part of the states, through Atlanta into the mid-Atlantic states, there could be some weather-related delays a little bit later on today. So if you are flying today, might want to keep a close eye on those forecasts. Your travel forecast is very wet across the southern tier of the United States, even up into Washington, D.C., looking at highs right around 50 with rain in the forecast. Unfortunately, continued dry weather on the west coast. Santa Ana winds will be increasing today. Sunshine is in the forecast. They could use some of that rain. Just a lot of clouds across the Great Lakes region today. Temperatures are in the teens to our north and west. With the cloud cover in place this morning, we start in the 20s. Not bad, 27 here in Madison, 27 as well in Boscobel, 25 in Prairie du Chien, as well as the Dells. Those clouds keeping temperatures up just a little bit overnight. Now, the forecast high temperatures today, not much warmer than where we are right now. Just a few degrees warmer in Middleton to a high of 32 degrees. Stoughton and Milton, you'll top at 30 degrees this afternoon. Clouds in place to the west. We may see many cities west of Dane County not even topping at 30 degrees today, and to the north as well, 27 in Boston and Baraboo as well. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. Temperatures, those wind chills will stay in the 20s, low 20s at that, through most of the day. Our forecast calls for temperatures to continue to cool down through tomorrow with a high of just 26. The best part about the forecast, though, after today, we'll see some sunshine. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday actually look pretty sunny. Here's someone that really doesn't care. Oh, look at this, all snuggled up. Diesel in Sun Prairie. Anytime's a good time for a nap.
Yeah, I'm taking my cues from Diesel today. We're going to take a nap.
Looking comfy, Diesel.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay.
Addie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is up next.
6:52 time now for the morning sprint. Teddy has highs hovering right around freezing today with even colder temperatures tomorrow.
And Josh Sprider is live at the Madison Water Utility to talk about protecting your pipes from those cold temperatures. But we start on Madison's east side, where we're learning a 29-year-old woman is in stable condition this morning after being shot in the chest last night. It happened around 9 p.m. near the corner of Fair Oaks Avenue and Milwaukee Street. Police say they're still working to identify a suspect in that shooting. We're going to continue to update you on this story as we learn more over on channel3000.com.
A number of teens faced disorderly conduct charges this morning after a fight at the Westtown Mall over the weekend. This started on a Madison Metro bus where police say the kids were harassing a 28-year-old man and 32-year-old woman Saturday night. One even poured a slushie over the woman's head. Now, that man and woman followed the teens into the mall after noticing the man's phone was missing. That's when a fight broke out. 7 juveniles were arrested, 4 were charged.
The wildfire destroying parts of Northern California is now the deadliest in that state's history. The Camp Fire north of San Francisco is responsible for at least 31 deaths, and there are still hundreds of people unaccounted for. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers wore a Santa Monica Fire Department hat last night after the win against Miami to show support for firefighters. He talked about the destruction in the town of Paradise, near where he grew up, calling it heartbreaking.
The gun deer season starts this weekend, and there's a reminder for anyone who wants to maybe try to get a jump start on that hunt. They could face criminal charges. Poachers can be fined up to $2,000 and lose hunting privileges for up to 3 years for starting early. Wardens could seize anything used for the poach. That includes your guns or even your car. Poaching typically happens at night, which means hunters don't usually have a clear line of sight beyond their target.
And we're starting this Monday morning off on a cloudy note. Take a look at the satellite and radar trends. Clouds across the entire southern part of the state early this morning. As you head out the door, grab that winter gear. It's going to be a chilly day. We're starting in the 20s, but climbing to highs only in the low 30s this afternoon. Temperatures holding steady through the day with a northwesterly wind.
I'm Josh Sprider, live at the Madison Water Utility, where officials are urging you to protect your pipes and avoid a costly disaster this winter. The cold has returned, and that means it's time to disconnect all hoses, turn off and drain spigots, and insulate pipes in unheated areas like crawl spaces. Officials say it's also important to keep the thermostat above 55 degrees or higher, even if you're not home. For those of you escaping for the winter or just leaving town for an extended period of time, they say you should think about getting your home professionally winterized. If you happen to come about a leak, you're urged to turn the water off immediately to prevent water damage and call a licensed plumber to make repairs right away. You can find all of these tips and more on channel3000.com.
Thank you, Josh. People living along the 100 miles of proposed power lines can voice their opinions later today. The state is analyzing the possible environmental impact of the Cardinal Hickory Creek line, which would stretch from the town of Middleton all the way to Dubuque, Iowa. Today's discussion is from 2 to 6 at Madison Marriott West. That's near Greenway Station. There will be another meeting Wednesday at the same time over at the Grant County Fairgrounds in Lancaster.
The city of Madison is moving forward with hiring a consultant to plan for the area around the now empty Oscar Mayer plant. There's about $90,000 budgeted to hire that consultant. They'll be responsible for gathering public input, developing some design plans, and narrowing them down to final recommendations. That process should start early next year.
Dane County supervisors will start the process tonight of approving its $620 million budget for next year. That could continue Wednesday and Thursday. The initial budget does lower the property tax rate for homeowners and includes major investments in things like flood recovery and mitigation, additional mental health resources, and clean energy initiatives.
Pabst Brewing Company and Miller Coors will be in a Milwaukee courtroom later today as Pabst says Miller Coors is trying to break contract. The Chicago-based company has brewed and shipped nearly all of Pabst beers since 1999. Miller Coors says it is not obligated to continue that deal and that Pabst isn't paying enough to justify it. The trial is set to run through the end of the month.
A reminder that federal government offices are closed today in observance of Veterans Day. There is an event this morning at the Memorial Union at UW to honor Wisconsin veterans. 90 years ago, Memorial Union was actually dedicated to service members. You can find wooden plaques that honor more than 200 Badgers who died in active duty. And there's also an electronic Gold Star honor roll with stories from more than 1,000 fallen heroes.
6:56 time now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your First Alert traffic. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, a few of the usual brake lights already showing up on the westbound Beltline between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. It's going to add a couple minutes to your drive time. Inbound John Olin, you're tapping the brakes at Rimrock and then again near the North Shore Drive intersection moving into downtown. Other main routes heading into Madison, including the interstate, they're cruising along at the usual speeds right now, though, with no major crashes or issues. Your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh.
And we do have cloudy skies this morning. Take a live look from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. Not a lot of sun there this morning. We'll keep the clouds through the day today with temperatures climbing to highs only in the low 30s this afternoon. That extended forecast is even colder tomorrow, but at least we have the sunshine back in the forecast for the middle of the week.
Yeah, definitely prepare for those teens overnight. I mean, it's just brutal out there. So bundle up, don't get sick. We will see you back here same time, same place tomorrow. Stay tuned for CBS This Morning.
That's